What is going on, Kingdom? What is going on? Kingdom, hold on. There we go. What is going on, Kingdom? So today I am here. Today I am back, and I am back on recording. Today I am here, and today I am back. Let me continue this playing, actually. Okay. Today I'm here today. Listen, I want to talk to you all today. Don't want to mess up the camera. I want to talk to you all today. I want to talk to the camera. I just want to speak to the camera in this video today. I even left the door a little bit slightly open shut. You see, sometimes I mess up when it comes to these recordings here, but listen. I want to talk. I want to speak today. I'm not going to be doing too many crazy edits on this video today. I'm just getting onto my computer here because I want to vent. I want to speak. I want to be real. I want this to be kind of like just a conversation where I'm speaking. Maybe we can have a discussion about this. Maybe we can have direct just communication talking about what I want to speak about here today, because I feel like it's been really strongly put on my heart. And as I often talk, and speak to people about things, when it comes to certain just issues and things, and when I'm coming onto a channel where I come here to speak about things that I find real, things that I find important, things that I find that come from my heart that I want to speak and project out into society, right? So I just want to speak today. I want to be honest. I want to speak, no edits. Not gonna be doing no edits. Just speaking, just honesty, just speaking, just what's the word? Transparency. Just want to speak to you today. Not too far of transparency, because I do believe there's certain things we have to keep a little bit away from, like the internet and whatever. You don't always have to talk about everything, right? But just speak today. Now let me close the door a little bit more. I didn't realize I didn't do that. So this is gonna be like a discussion, just a speaking thing, just a me and you discussion today, right? That's all we're doing here today. Just a me and you discussion, and I want to talk about this. So listen, I want to talk about, I want to talk about some of the things that I'm going through, some of the things that I go through when it comes to my belief, what I'm trying to do in life, how I'm trying to grow in life, right? In the perspective of me, from my, as I'm very young working to do this, and I'm very much growing and, making mistakes, messing up, and I just, it's hard for me, you know what I'm saying? It's very hard for me when it comes to certain things, when it comes to my belief, and I believe in biblical principles. I believe in, a lot of these things that are very important for us to believe in and understand, that are important to society, that we leave and we push to the side, and I just want to say, for me, I'm a very flawed human being, and I make a lot of mistakes. I make a lot of them, even when I know that they are mistakes. And I get very lost. I get very confused, and I overthink a lot. As you can see from this cover here and this title, I deal with things like anxiety, depression, envy, trauma, things like that are very difficult emotions for me to handle. And I often feel ashamed of myself for a lot of these things. It makes me avoid the camera sometimes. It makes me avoid the music. It makes me avoid the things that I do, avoid the speaking, and it makes me just feel like very sheltered and shielded. And it's hard. It's very hard sometimes for me. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard. I want to say that man, when it comes to my perspective, and this is why I feel like there are so many of us that are younger, right? That are younger, growing up in this generation here, where we don't very much align or resonate very well with working with positive values. Let's be real here. It's hard for us doing that, and a lot of these people that say we want to be working through positive values, we want to do these things, lead to Christ, to lead to doing things positive in society, leading to positive principles in society, we end up coming into this perspective where it's like we don't understand those people don't understand us, so we might as well just go and work towards our own path. We might as well work towards our own thing, our own path, our own perspective, what everybody else has to say about positivity and things. That's not something that I really align well with. It makes us worry. We worry a lot because we as the younger generation, we struggle, and a lot of people don't truly understand what it's like, when it comes to that perspective. A lot of the people that speak on topics where it's like you should do this and you should do that because God says, and a lot of these people have made a lot of the same mistakes and have grown out of those, and they say they've been saved, right? And it's as I believe I'm one who is also saved. However, I'm very much making mistakes. I'm very much messed up, like we all are, and we all say, if you don't do this right, or you messed this up, or you keep sinning, you're going to hell. This is what people say, and it's very, very difficult from my end and my perspective, and this is why I work so hard in my channel to understand people, right? And to be an understanding perspective, to be an understanding individual. Right now I'm in the perspective where I feel like I'm not good enough to be on camera. I'm just being honest and saying that. I actually did an entire recording before this one, and it didn't. Let's just say it didn't go. It didn't finish. Obviously, I'm starting a new one up, right? And it's. I'm saying that to be transparent because I'm saying that, from my perspective as a younger individual, it's difficult, and like I said, we get so very, very caught up and very deep in convicting ourselves, and saying this is what's wrong with me, this is what's, messed up, and I don't want for that to be showed or brought out into society if I'm going on camera. It's a very difficult thing and a very difficult perspective, and something that I'm working to overcome as I get older, and working to overcome my sin, my problems. And people will look and say, man, people will look and say, man, you gotta get over it, pray. And every single day I pray, every day I repent for my sins, every day. And I'm not saying that to say, oh man, this is all wrong. What I want to say is I feel like we all need to have a further understanding of each other, man. I feel like we need to have a further understanding and just love for one another, unified, just grouping community of one another, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, my whole thing is unity, movement of unity. I have an entire series called Movement of Unity, and I call it that because, I feel like we don't have one right now. I feel like we don't have a movement of unity. And what I mean by that is, it's like these people are over here and these people are over here. And a lot of the people that are over here, whether it's in the sinning area and then in the don't believe in God, or in this area doing the wrong things area, are us that are younger. And it's because we feel misunderstood. Everybody that's young nowadays in this generation feels misunderstood because there's so many things, so many influences, so many things that are telling us, do this, do that, do this, that, and the third, that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's not good for us, and that's, tearing us down, as individuals. We're not inspired. I just shouldn't even be using that word. I use that word often because it's like that's kind of what is inspired, but inspired is kind of supposed to be like positive, and it's negative. So I could say inspired. We're inspired to do negative things, but we're influenced. Just rather say influenced to do negative things. Influenced to do things that are bringing us back down. Then it's hard for us not to fall under the influence, and I believe that God knows these things. Christ understands these things, and it's where we have to work to understand and work together, man, and that's something that we, don't really do very often, even if it's like hard for us, and we're just not doing it right, or we're just not getting it right. It's because we all have to learn to work together. A lot of us shelter ourselves. A lot of us as younger individuals, we shelter ourselves from other people because, we feel like other people, aren't going to help us, or they're just going, other people tell us, just do this, get this right, this is what you got to do, this, but with unwillingness to help, with unwillingness to understand, listen, and sit down and really put themselves into our perspectives, because we're so busy into the hustle life, the getting money life, the providing, raising life, this the life where we have to provide and raise for ourselves and for families. So we end up not really being open to working with people, and not when it comes to a just talking, this is what you got to do. Some people already know the game, you know what I'm saying, know the quote-unquote game, and I'm talking about like when people give you game, right? They give you knowledge, they give you information, this is what you should do, when people give you that game, people give you that information, but it's like, it's easier said than done when you say it that way, right? But let's work together, let's help each other, keep communication with each other, but we don't, because we live in a social media generation, we live in a social media era. And I'm saying this to say, it's hard for me within my belief now, really, it's hard for me within my belief when it comes to having my faith, because so many other people that are grouped in with this faith with me are people who are walking in these ways, people I look up to, people I love, you know what I'm saying? We're working in this way where we're working so separate from one another, and it's like I sit here and think sometimes, God, these people are saying that you're speaking through them, and these people are saying that you're, and it's not to bash no one either, we all have our own things, right? We all have our own problems, issues. Whatever I look at as a problem, you might look at it as something that's not bad. We all have our own perspectives and things, is basically what I'm saying. And I guess for mine, it's hard for me to understand faith, You know, a lot of the time, a lot of my beliefs and a lot of these things come from what other people have told me or what I've listened to or what seemed positive in the mind. And I know that God is working through me. But what's hard is, you know, how do I always know what people are saying is really right or true in terms of the gospel? You know what I'm saying? Or in terms of even the biblical principles. How do I know all of this is true and right sometimes? And I'm saying this for someone, like I said, who's very underdeveloped in my growth right now, my faith, and in my understanding of a lot of certain things. And so I just want to say today, you know, one, if you are feeling that way like I am, I understand you. And number two, you know, if anything, I want to project and put out today, you know, this isn't easy for me. Like it isn't. And I'm sure this is cliche nowadays in a way, you know, a lot of the time it's not just like this, oh, now this is finally the person. No, we all kind of do this where we speak and we vent to each other, right? But like I said, what's so hard for me is that we do these things, but we're still so separated. We're so separated by like the ones who kind of have it more together and the ones that don't. You know, and it's like the ones that don't are not willing to get it together, as we say. And it's like maybe they're not willing to get it together because they don't have a reason to feel like they should. They don't understand you. You don't understand them. They don't get where you're coming from. You don't get where they're coming from. So why should we work with you when you don't even want to take the time to understand or want to understand what we've been through or go through, understanding us and wanting to relate, wanting to treat us like a form of family to you? Then how can I trust you, basically? How can I trust your word? How can I trust your perspective? How can I trust what you believe in when you don't even believe in me and a part of me is what I've gone through. A part of me is what's influenced me. A part of me is what's happened to me and what I've gone through in my life. So what makes you think that I should believe in what you believe in when you're not willing to understand and see what I believe in, what's grown and developed me? This is a lot of the perspective of people that, you know, don't have faith. You know, let's just being real. And so what I'm trying to say today is, listen, to anybody, you know, that may either somebody that wants to help somebody or either somebody that needs help, listen, it's freaking hard, dude. It is hard. Right now it's hard for me talking, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. You know, it's hard, and you know, I wish we could work to have a soft spot, have a soft spot, a soft heart for one another, man. You know, and not get so caught up in the hustle, bro, because it's the hustle that's keeping us separated. A lot of it is the hustle. A lot of it is the, you know, I got it together. You know what I'm saying? And working in our own hustles. A lot of it is the people that got, you know, this quote unquote good hustle that's not hurting nobody and it's, you know, faith driven. And then it's the people who don't have a hustle that's really positive, but it's their hustle because they really just want to make it through life, right? You know, we have the people who, you know, we have the people that got these hustles, man. And it's either whether we call it a quote unquote positive or negative hustle. However people are hustling is how people are hustling. You know, whether you want to say hustling for God or hustling for the enemy. You know, I don't think God calls us to hustle anyways, but all of us seem to be trying to do that. All of us as Christians seem to be trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I just want to say, man, like, you know, like I said, what's hard for me is that's what we're doing, is we're hustling. And because we're so hustling, we're not working together. And I'm talking about is the body of Christ. We're all supposed to be in the same body. We're all supposed to be in the same body together. You know, we're all supposed to be a part of the same community. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just talking about, you know, this quote-unquote Christian community, which is another thing I want to say, you know, is that when we say these things like Christian this and Christian that, and, you know, this has nothing else to do with other people then at that point. Anybody else who has different beliefs or anybody else who lives differently than us, you know, they're not a part of what we are doing, you know, or this is this community, like, no, you know, and honestly, it becomes weird, you know, at that point, you know, and I understand there are separation things we have to identify certain ways, but that shouldn't be the end goal. Whether you even claim it when it comes to like, whether you even claim when it comes to like race, right? Because I think that's just an example, you know, when it comes to like you say either like white or black, right? Or community this, community that, right? It's not that that's the way that it should be. I don't think that's the way it should be, but it's the way that we have to say it right now because there is separation. Or whether we say Christian, or whether we say atheist, or whether we say Buddhist, whatever we say, right? It's like we label all of these things by community, but that shouldn't be the end goal. I do believe it's important for us to do that, but only because we have to identify the negative and work to grow a positive. Even saying Christian or anything like that, even saying these things, right? That's a negative thing to like claim, you know, I'm the Christian, you're the You know, because that's kind of what you're saying when you claim yourself as a Christian. I'm the Christian, and you're the, you know, it's because then obviously if I'm saying I'm a Christian, which I'm thinking about these things now, you know, if I claim to myself and say I'm a Christian, then someone else is something different if they're not quote unquote Christian. Someone else is someone different than me. They're in a different space. They're in a different community. They're not like me. They're somewhere else. There's something different. You know, and that becomes where it's like, you know, I do think it's like, you know, wrong when we all just say that we're all like the same, because we're not. We all have separations and issues and differences that need to be acknowledged and understood, but the end goal shouldn't be that those things even still exist. You know, but we don't work towards that end goal. Instead, we identify. Just like even with us as Christians, it's the same thing. We identify with these things. You know, whether you even want to say like suburban or hood, you know what I'm saying? It's like people identify with their own things. People identify with whatever they come from, whatever they've seen, whatever they've dealt with in their life. And it's like we identify with these things. You know what I'm saying? They, like I said, I've talked about when it comes to kind of like hip hop or rap in a way. You know, it's like we... You know, as I look at it, looking at like, you know, rap back in the day and things, you know what I'm saying? It's like rap back, you know, some decades ago was more about, you know, there's separation going on. You know, we are in this position in space. You know, this was giving people a voice to say we live in a position in space where this is not how it should be. You know, it's poverty going on, there's stuff going on where this is like, then this is where rap was emerging from, giving people a voice to project and speak out and say, listen, this is what is going to, this is what we're going to say to make change. You know what I'm saying? But it came to a point in time where instead people who were into rap, you know, identified in the things going on and started to say, you know what, this is me, this is where I come from, this is what my life is, and I'm gonna put it out there, and this is just me. And people identified with it. People started to think that all the, like I said, all the, you know, because like I said, drugs were happening, you know, and you know, like just a lot of negative things, you know, let's just say that, right? A lot of negative things going on, you know, when it came to people who were coming from, you know, just impoverished communities. And that's where a lot of rap came from, because it was, like I said, it was giving people a voice at the time. But people started to say, you know what, this is what I identify in. This is what and anybody else, you know, coming from somewhere else or who is different, who don't do this, doesn't come from this, you know, they're over there, you know what I'm saying, and I'm over here. And it's like the goal shouldn't have been that. The goal shouldn't have been, listen, these are my issues, this is what I come from. And that's what it was before, until, like I said, nowadays if you listen to a lot of rap music, it's more like, you know, people are saying that these things are cool, people acting like these things are cool because now they're saying this is me, and I'm not going to work to make a change in an instant. I'm just going to say this is me, and this is how I separate from you. You feel what I'm saying? And so now we're living in this position, we're living in this spot where we don't sit and we don't work together to try and make change. We just leave ourselves separated, whether it's positive or negative. And that's the same thing when it comes to us being quote unquote Christian, or us being like, it's everything, you know. And I'm not saying this to be like Mr. Controversial. I'm just saying it because I want us to live in unity. You know, I say this all the time. I want us to live in unity. You know, we have to understand how separated we are, man. And it's not about, you know, like I remember listening to a verse, you know, and I'm not, you know, gonna say no names, not gonna say no, but you know, it was in Christian rap, and it was somebody saying, you know, it's like how it was someone's basically saying that, you know, secular rap is garbage. And you know, it's like, why say that? You know what I'm saying? Because listen, just like how you're a Christian, I understand what you're saying by it, is that what they say is negative, throw that trash out the window. But that's not the way you do it, because when you're not saving nobody, saying no junk like that, first of all. Because look, I'm gonna keep it a whole stack with you, okay? If I'm a secular artist and you know, a Christian artist wants to come and say, you know, my kind of music is trash, I'm not gonna listen to you. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna look at you like you're a hater, because that is hating no matter what, regardless. It's hating. You know, it's hating to say something about like that about somebody's art, whether positive or negative. Speak with somebody. Like I said, understand somebody. Understand when you look at any other piece of content or music or art or anything and say, listen, your junk is garbage. I don't care what it is. It's not helping nobody. It is not helping anybody to look at somebody and say something like that about somebody else's stuff. You know, and so then it leads us to more separation. Do you, like, am I wrong here? Am I wrong? And I'm calling out a lot of stuff, but look, when you look at one other person and say that they're different from you in some way, and identify within that and say, look, this is what I am, and this is what they are, you know, we're completely, when we're acknowledging those certain things and saying, this is where our separation is at, you know, why do we live in this way? You know, when we acknowledge that there's separation, When we say there's separation, but we say as an intent of removing the separation and bringing together unity, that's different. Because if we just act like everything is good and you know, handy dandy, everything in life is good, listen, all of it's gonna come back, and everything's gonna come back, right? All the it's all gonna come back. All of it is, right? And so what we choose to say instead is, look, you know, I understand that there's separation, and we're gonna work to make a change in that. But when we choose to just identify in the separation and say, look, you know, like I said, they're over there, I'm over here. You know, I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're more positive than them. I don't care if it's da-da-da-da-da. We're all going to stay separated. And I don't believe to leave no man behind, nobody behind. I don't care where you come from, what you look like, who you are, what it is, what your principles are, what you think, what you're like. I don't care, bruh. I don't believe in leaving behind people. You know, I don't think it's right to leave behind people, bro. We choose to leave behind people. We choose to say, look, these people are over there and we're over here. And I just think that no matter what, that's not cool, man. It's not cool. Now, I understand, you know, when you have to, like, you know, I understand when there's certain things when it's like, we'll leave it to God. We have to leave it to God. We can't fix them. I understand that, man. But at least give someone a chance to understand who they are, bro. You don't have to, like, open your whole life to them or nothing. I'm just saying to sit, and if you're really going to be, you know, like, leader, right, or just anything like that, or if you're just gonna be one that wants to make a true difference in society, try and understand and show love to anybody, dude. Don't look at somebody and say you are like worse than me, or you are this, or you are that. Now, I understand when it comes to being open or being like with certain stuff, you know, you have to be aware, and that's important. You have to be aware of things. But when it comes to making a difference in someone's life, you don't have to open up your life to do that. You don't have to do that, but you have to be willing to be open to what their life is and help to speak to them, help them to make a change, you know, be positive in that, you know what I'm saying? That's what I work to do with these videos. I don't really speak to anybody directly who watches these unless I do, if I know you, right? But what I can say is that, you know, there's somebody who can watch my videos and say, man, you know, that kid understands my perspective and what I'm going through and what I deal with, and it's actually really helping me today. You know, it's actually really helping me to make a difference in my life. You know, and I think that that's big. I think that's more big than any of the stuff that we do. You know, and another thing I just want to speak on, you know, is like sometimes, you know, it's like we sit and it's like we act like, you know, everything is just fine in life. We act like everything is just fine in life, you know, and it's like things aren't, you know what I'm saying? That's another end. When we choose to just identify in the problems, that's one thing. But when we choose to act like everything is good, you know, and that's what I mean even by, you know, when we listen to secular artists or we listen to Christian artists, I feel like both of it is different extremes, you know what I'm saying, sometimes. Now, I'm not going to say there's nothing wrong with positive Christian rap. There's not. And we can always have these things where we have these understandings of hope. And, you know, we all got to live with hope and all this stuff, but are we always just gonna constantly live and act like everything is okay? Is my question sometimes. When I listen to a lot of Christian rap, and I've done this before because this is what I was kind of inspired by. But you can see even with this album that I've made, How Do I Defend Me Against Myself? I changed it up a little bit more. You know, I just want us to be real more. You know what I'm saying? Like when we make these artists, these Christian songs, like, you know, hey, I pray to the Father, da 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 da. I'm good. I'm straight. I'm faithful. You know, life isn't like that. Life is not made like that, and we're acting like life is made like that. And that's what becomes confusing to me, you know, because why do we act like life is truly that way? Why do we act like this stuff is, why do we act like it's just so easy and simple, you know? Like in the music, you know, it's like we just say these things, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with faith-based music, but I feel like we need more, you know. That's why people are willing to listen to music that, these are people who identify in the negative and are living in it and are talking about it. People choose to listen to that before they'll listen to, like, at least younger people choose to listen to that before they'll listen to a Christian artist, because a lot of Christian artists people don't relate to. You know, people can't find no identity in the music that they're listening. People can't find anything they can understand, you know, and that's how I feel sometimes. I be wanting to listen to some of this music where people express their pain, even if it's, you know, them talking about it, and it can feel like, man, you know, that's not cool, but it's what they come from, it's what they've dealt with, whatever they're talking about, and it's something you can resonate more with someone's pain than you can resonate more with somebody's accomplishments. Because what you've accomplished, I haven't accomplished, but what your pain is, I can probably understand that a lot better, you know? Oh my goodness, my bad, I don't even, well, I said cancel, bro, come on YouTube, you know what the frick I said. But anyway, it's like, and you know, shout out to Brian T. But it's just, why do we choose, you know, to do that? Or why do we choose to live that way? You know, where we choose to be so just filtered about things, I feel like, you know. And I just wanted to be real in saying how I feel about some of it. You know, it just feels it feels like that. It feels like we could be more honest about certain things. I feel like we could be more adapted into what is going on in the world, rather than, like I said, us being the Christians who our lives are just positive and happy when they're not. You know, instead of us just being that way, how about in saying, man, God saved me? Because look, I understand it, but these other people are gonna look at you and say, look, man, you say God saved you and everything is so good for you. Life ain't good for me, man. You know, I don't think life is really just good for any of us. You know, so why are we acting like it sometimes? You know, I mean, it's like, life ain't easy no matter what. You know, life is not easy. I'm not gonna say life ain't good. Let me not say that. You know, maybe that's a little hard, but it's hard as frick, dude. You know, we all struggle in this junk. And I just wish that we all acknowledge that a little bit more with ourselves, man, you know, so that we could address these things and, you know, work to, you know, like, bring life, bring love, you know, bring these things. Because when we just bring life and love to the people who already seem to say they have it or understand the gospel or have put their faith in Jesus, when we choose to do that, you know, but the way that I feel like we can, you know, really make a difference is not just preach on the streets, not just say God is good on the streets, and, you know, like, with all these people who are going through, you know, struggle, and just saying, you know, God is good, da 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 da. Bro, like, on all the street preaching stuff, man, listen, it's not, it's helping some people, but what's gonna help people is not that, man. It's not just preaching the gospel. What's gonna help people is saying, look, you know what I'm saying? I understand your pain, man. I feel it. I know it. And I want to talk with you. I want to directly understand you. I want to directly understand what you got going on, man. I want to sit with you. I want to talk with you. I want to be like family to you, man. Whatever you have to tell me, man, I want to hear you out. Whatever you have to say, I know this junk isn't easy, man, because it's not easy for me either, man. It's not. This junk is hard, bro, but let's work to understand each other. Let's work hard to, you know, bring love and understand and be real with each other, man. This junk, I know it's not easy. I know it's not. But listen, this is the best way that we can try and make this change, man, because I know it ain't easy. And I'm not going to act like it is. A lot of your struggles, I might be struggling with the same as you are. So let's try and work together to figure this thing out together, right? Like something like that. You know, that's coming straight from the heart here. And this is coming from probably one of the most flawed people you could look at, you know? But it's the empathy, it's the empathetic. You know, we don't go through the same pain as other people. It caused for us. It's almost like a similar thing as forgetting where you come from. You know, it's like, you know, if somebody has a whole bunch of money and they're not willing to be open enough to honestly spread it around, right? Then other people aren't going to understand you. Other people aren't going to want to understand you or even relate to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like people forget, you know, that maybe at one point they didn't have money like that. But when they choose to kind of say, you know, well, wherever I came from, that's kind of the past, da 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 da, and now I'm in the future. Same thing with mentality, same thing with emotion, same thing with heart. You know, when you were going through so many different things, you know, it was different. But now that people are in your same position of when you were going through junk, but now you're doing better, now you're willing to just, you know, speak to people and say, do this, do da da da. It's not that, you know, and you know, praise God, and it's not that easy. You know, I get that it comes with doing things that aren't easy. You know, I get that. But one of the things you could do as well that is not easy is to sit and have a softened heart for these people and understand them, you know, to help and allow for them to understand where you're coming from, you know, rather than just what they've seen and what they've lived in life, because you have no idea what they've been through. You feel me? You know, and that's just, you know, that's just showing love to people. You know, a lot of the time, you know, it's like I say, love is not, you know, doing what you feel like, which is a lot of the time to just say, do this. You know, you're going to feel like it because you're going to feel amped up. But how about let's instead say, man, look, and make it hard for us, because sometimes we have pain. Sometimes we have pain going on in the internal that we don't even want to bring out when someone else is talking to us about their pain. We don't want to bring ours back out. So we choose to put it away and say, listen, man, this is what you got to do because this is what I do, when you're just filtering out your own pain. Am I being real here or not? You know, and I'm not saying here to judge nobody or judge the people that do kind of have that. I'm just saying it because I want us to be able to self-reflect, you know, and be real, like, man, is this really what I'm dealing with? And then let's work to all understand each other. Let's work to all be like, man, this is what we got going on. Look, it's not going to be easy to do that because it's not easy to have love. Love ain't easy, no matter what. Whether it's relationship, whether it's family, whether it's brotherhood, sisterhood, love ain't easy, man. Love is not easy. It's not easy at all. So when we sit here and we're willing to do that for each other, God has love. God doesn't have all this, like, God isn't going to sit here and be, listen, I didn't end up coming out of whatever slump that I was in because God gave me a speech and said, this is what you got to do. No, God came, dig the dirt through, and was open to understanding the crevices and dirt of my pain, man. You get what I'm saying? And it felt like, listen, I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to work towards this because I understand this so much better. I understand that, my pain is understood. My pain and my problems can be used for good, and that's what I'm doing now. Because a lot of us forget where we come from, and I don't really know why or where it happens or where it comes from. But, the biggest lie the enemy ever has told is that he doesn't exist. And a lot of us act like the enemy just doesn't exist and we can just talk to people and say it is what it is. Just straight up, just walk away from the enemy. Like, you're not acknowledging the enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could just like say, I don't know. Look. The enemy could be trying to like attack a village, right? Like, or just anything. Someone could be trying to attack a village, right? And it's a village that you're working to. I feel like we work to protect the people, right? We work to, especially from the perspective just as a young man. And just everybody in general, and even though they say, as men, we're called to protect, right? So I'm just saying this from that perspective. I'm not saying this and it only applies to one gender. I'm not saying that, they just, as they say, men are called to protect, provide, things along those lines, right? So I'm going to say, from my perspective, right? So I'm called to protect, right? If we're called to protect and protect the people, say if a village is being attacked, right? And that's like, it's time for us to protect the village that everybody's being attacked in. But if you choose to run away, you know what I'm saying, and tell everybody else, run away, the village is still being attacked and things are gonna, but when you choose to say, listen, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna go, whoever the frick is attacking that village, we're gonna come at their throat and we're gonna go and freaking, we're gonna protect this village here by fighting. That's what it comes down to, is fighting the enemy. But fighting the enemy is not looking at somebody else and saying, just stop listening to the enemy and just keep it moving, just run away, dip out. No, a part of it is fighting the devil and what he's trying to tell people, and a part of that is counteracting that with love. The enemy brings hate, we bring love. The enemy brings lies, we bring truth. And it's not just about bringing the truth, but it's about bringing the enemy brings dirt, we have to dig it away, right? The enemy brings pain, we have to understand, we have to work to heal that pain. And working to heal that pain isn't just telling somebody walk with your scars and keep it moving. No, it's not that. Think about it like that. You're not just gonna tell somebody if someone's hurt, keep walking with your scars, just keep it moving. No, if you really care about the person, you're going to work to help heal them, man. And doing that is sitting down with them, getting the bandages ready, getting whatever you gotta get ready, right? Am I lying? No. And that's what I feel like a lot of us are doing, is letting people just walk around with these scars, and that's what's happened to me, because then it leads me back into a slump sometimes where it's like, man, my old pain comes back because I hadn't had that, experience. And I feel like God, has put me in this position because now I can understand it so much better, that, man, and this is why I can speak so confidently for so long about this, even if I struggle to speak sometimes. As I get more and more into this, it's like, yo, we have to say and speak and be honest about these things, because if we don't, man, we're going to be stuck in the same slump for a long, long time. We're going to be stuck in the same position for a long, long time where it's like, we're all just going to be separated, basically. That's all, man. I don't want us to be like that, and I want us to understand and bring love and spread love to one another. So, that's really everything. I'm glad I got to talk a lot of that out. And I don't know, man. I guess that's all I really got to say, about everything that was kind of been on my mind. I'm very flawed. I think that's really everything. I really just kind of projected out everything very well, and just hear everything that I'm saying here. Hear everything that I'm saying and understand, man, we gotta bring love, show love, spread love. It's hard. It's not easy doing that, man. It's really freaking hard. But I feel like it brings us the best. Showing love isn't conviction. Showing love isn't freaking bringing all this knowledge. Showing love is bringing love and understanding to one another. Showing love is bringing understanding. Showing love is bringing compassion and kindness. Kindness doesn't come from just telling someone what to do. That's not kind. I'm being honest here and saying that's not kind, even if you think that it is, bro. But that's not helping somebody. It's not. Preaching the gospel isn't always gonna help somebody, man. What's gonna do is understand, where is the enemy in this? this. Okay, let's talk this out. Let's work to take the enemy out of this. It's gonna come towards, maybe a person may feel like they never had true family within their life, and then you look at them and say, man, listen, you have to go out and talk to people, be uncomfortable. Bro, who the frick did they have to really their entire life? It was hard for them to even speak and talk to people because they felt like they couldn't trust nobody. And now you're telling them to just go out there and the thing is, you're having them go out there with the same scars that they had before. So even if they're going out and being uncomfortable, they still got the same scars going on, man. And I'm not gonna say you could just be some healer or whatever, but it's going to help a person when they understand that, no matter what, you can do whatever you put your mind to, no matter what. But it's gonna come down to one, understanding their scars and giving a person an actual reason to believe that whatever they've gone through isn't actually what life it has to be in the positive side of it. And it doesn't always have to be this constant work, but it can be peace, love, positivity. But it takes sitting with somebody and telling them those kinds of things. And not just that, but sitting down with them and listening to them. Listening, understanding, showing love. That's hard to do, but when we sit here and we really believe, a lot of the time we really believe that just preaching the gospel is going to do it. It's not. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. It's not just going to do it. And anybody else that's in a spot where they're in a slump and they don't even believe in Jesus, they're going to say the same thing. And you could say, oh, well, they're just the ones that don't believe in Jesus. They don't understand. Well, you don't understand them. You know what I'm saying? And you're just going to sit there and say, they don't believe in Jesus, so I ain't listening to them. Like you're just going to be willing to just say, okay, well, frick them and keep it moving. Then how really, is that love? That's not love, man. That's not. That's not. And after a while, I understand. There's only so much you can do. I get it. And then you have to understand and pray for people, But you didn't even give that person a chance. You gave yourself and what you have to say a chance. You didn't give what they have to say a chance to even understand and hear it out, You just get so busy with trying to prove that you're right about everything going on within another person's situation when you have no idea. We get so busy caught up in our feelings and what we feel like is right, because we read the Bible and we heard all these things, so this is what's right. When really another person has it completely different. And even if what they say is quote unquote wrong, understand first. Before you want to look at somebody and tell them what's truly right, understand why they believe that these things are right, and hear them out, and understand them that. They might say, man, trusting nobody is what's right. I don't trust nobody. And it's like you look and say, well, no, that's not the case. There are people you can trust. You can trust God, and you can trust these people here. So go and walk and understand and talk to them. That's not going to help nobody. It's not helping them. How about they'll tell you, man, I feel like I can't trust nobody. Or no, I think I can't trust nobody. Why is that? And I want to truly, why is that? What's going on with you? This is what I dealt with in the past. This is what I dealt with in my life, and so this is why. And I say, well, listen, I want to hear more about this. I want to understand you because, I feel like I've learned so many things, and I really want to help you, find, this level of peace that I feel like you can find, man. It's hard not trusting nobody, man, and I understand, I understand from that level, man. It's hard. I understand that, man, and I really want to sit down and hear you out. I feel like you have so much potential as a person. I feel like you have so much, just of talents and abilities and things where these other people that's out here aren't teaching you about this stuff, and that's why you feel like you can't trust nobody, because a lot of these people out here are giving you reasons not to trust. I understand that, man, and so I want to just be able to sit down with you. I want to be able to hear this out, and I want us to be able to work not for me, not so I can prove myself right, but so I can help you out, because I see you as family. I'm not sitting here to prove myself right either. I'm sitting here because I want, or to teach nobody a lesson. I'm just saying what I've learned, and what I feel like I've learned about so many different things, and I feel like God's speaking through me through all this, and it's just helping me to get it all out there, and say, man, yo, like I said, man, this life, it's not easy. It's freaking hard. It's hard, but we just gotta keep doing this stuff, man, and it's like crazy. And I just, like I said, we're so busy, like it's insane to me, and I completely disagree with it. I'm just like, all the ways we're preaching, I don't see nobody doing these kinds of things, and I feel like we all have our own influences, and I just don't see anybody that's willing to really be open and sit down with people, man, and show that love. I've been through so much in my life, man, and I'm not saying it to say like, oh, I've been through the worst. No, just within my, we all have gone through so much. I've been through so much, so many, and I'm young. I can't say much. I'm just saying that we've all been through a lot of stuff, and it's like I haven't been through the worst. I really haven't. I've just been through things, and there's a reason why I am saying these things to you now, because of what I've gone through, and I've known people that have gone through so much, and I've sat down and thought so many times, man, what could I do for other people rather than like, just, where I don't know, man. I try to think on where it comes from sometimes. I think a lot of it comes from, like I said, we all have our own insecurities within. And, it becomes hard because we just want to feel worthy. We want to feel worthy for God. A lot of the time we feel unworthy. We want to feel worthy for God. We want to feel worthy for, just preaching. We want to feel worthy for these things that, we end up trying to prove why we are, and we end up, saying these kinds of things to people where it's like, it gets taken wrong, and it for good reason. Because we're trying to prove ourselves right because we want to feel worthy. Man, and that's where I'm praying for us, man. I'm praying for everything that we're doing, that we can change that a little bit, So I could talk forever, yo. Anything else, man? I guess if I could say anything to anybody, listening right now, man. This junk is hard. This life is difficult. It always is. We're all gonna feel insecure. We're all gonna feel weird. We're all gonna feel like, man, it is hard for me being around other people. It's hard for me talking to other people. It's hard. It's always going to feel that way, dude. It always does, man. It always freaking does. And the best thing I can say, man, is just, I believe in you. I don't think that anybody is lost. Or anybody. Yes, we do feel lost. We've been lost. But I don't think anybody is, a failure or a loser. I believe that we're all equal in truth. And, no matter what one person thinks or says, man, you just gotta keep on walking and keep on trying. We're all doing it. Just some people are better at acting like it's easier than others. That's the case, It's not easy for me to speak. I still do it out here to project, and it's not easy, and I can't say or whatever, act like it is, but I do it, Best thing we can do is keep walking and understanding. I'm working to understand myself and my problems and in my pain, dude, because, man, it is hard. It's not easy to do that for myself even. I convict myself a lot and say, man, like, why would you do that, Okay, well, I guess I'm going to probably end this video here. I've said a lot today. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate you. I'm going to look back on this, and hopefully the recording's all good, man. Thank you. Much love. Appreciate you. Have an amazing morning, evening, night. God bless you. You take care, and thank you.